familia na marafiki dhidi ya magonjwa.
The UHC coverage journey is on. NHIF is working under the guidance of the Ministry of Health in the UHC Step Up, which presents an opportunity to secure Kenyans access to quality health services without suffering financial hardship. So take the bold step today and safeguard your families by enrolling to NHIF to ensure health for all.
Kwa majina mimi naitwa Akwila sana yele mako. Ninaishi Namanga. Wakati wa games tukikaa tu hapo na wanafunzi wenzangu tukicheza nikaanza kusikia vizuri. Nikamweleza mama. Sasa mama akaniambia mbona ukusemanga? Nikamwambia niliogopa. Nikaenda Namanga hospital nikapima akaona ugonjwa niko nayo. Sasa akasema heri upelekwe Kajiado. Madaktari akakuja kunitibu. Akasema Manda akasema akaniambia utaenda kwa surgery. Walisema iko na growth. Nilienda kushughulikia hadi akaenda kutafuta NHIF mama tu anakuanga nayo, lakini ugonjwa mwenye nilitibiwa hiyo kadi ilinisaidia sana. Hiyo kama tungekuwa nayo sijui tungetoka hapo lini. Ningependa kuambia serikali waendelee kutuletea hiyo kadi ya NHIF kwa maana inatusaidia sana. Kila mtu ajitahidi, ajikaze kisabuni ili waweze kudhibitisha na wao wapate hiyo NHIF. Ndio waweze na mtu akigonjeka juu siku yako kugonjeka na wao upate hiyo kadi ndio ukipelekwa hospital uweze kutibiwa.
Linda familia na marafiki dhidi ya magonjwa.
Ili kupata upendo kama sikiza tune kwenye simu yako, dial *811 *817#.
Upendo huvumilia. Upendo hauna wivu au majivuno. Upendo hauna kiburi na hauoni mabaya. Upendo hautafuti kujipendeza nafsi, haukasiriki upesi, hauweki orodha ya mabaya. Upendo huvumilia yote, huamini yote, hutumaini yote na hustahimili yote. Wakorintho 1:13.
Kupata upendo kama sikiza tune, dial *811 *817#.
It is the 16th day of the second month of 2022. Good afternoon. This is KBC Lunchtime News. Glad you could make time. We have a comprehensive and live broadcast lined up for you. My name is Njue, and Lucy Mora will be handling the sign language interpretation on the bottom of your screen. Welcome. Remember, we appreciate your kind feedback on all our social media platforms. To kick us off, Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i has challenged Kenya National Police SACCO to invest heavily on training of its members on resource management to improve their welfare. Dr. Matiang'i said training in financial management will help address cases like corruption within the forces and suicide among the officers. He commended the management of the SACCO for good governance, which has seen it emerge the second best performing SACCO in the country. The Kenya National Police SACCO Chairman David Mategwa assured the delegates that the SACCO is committed to helping its members proposal in their ventures. The two were speaking in Nairobi during the Kenya National Police SACCO annual delegates meeting.
The important thing is that police belongs to the club of savers. We can save our own money, and we can borrow our own money, and we do our own project. Watu waache kutuambia sisi ni maneno ya kuenda kuokota, si ndio? We have proved that we can save our own money. The next competition, Chairman, we need to look amongst ourselves. Is those officers who are doing good projects, tuanze competition in that area.
That Kenya Police Sacco is one of the SACCOs that we are very proud of in this sector because it is doing a very, very excellent job under the able chairmanship of Mr. Mategwa and his board. It's the third largest SACCO in this country. It's a country that has benchmarked with the best in the world. As you have just heard the chairman say, he will take some of the members to go and actually learn from the best SACCOs in the US.
The governance will continue training the directors in good corporate governance. That means that we will be sending them in more workshops, more exposure for them, so that they see how the best institutions in the world are working, so that we adapt the model on how we can do better, because people will only bring money when they trust us. So that issue of governance is key. And you see, as we train our delegates to make sure that in decision making, people know what they are saying. We train our members. You have seen that we train them on financial education and training, financial coaching. This means that we are strengthening our governance.
All these trouble that we are seeing around, some of our young people taking their lives, challenges that are coming between our young couples and so on, half of them are related to financially related problems, you know. And everybody talks about, oh, you know, the salary is not enough and so on. There will never be enough money for someone who doesn't know how to manage their money, period. And I want to ask you also, let us enhance this gospel to our colleagues out there and ensure that we inculcate a very deep and sustainable saving culture amongst the police officers and the police service. Because that way, we will have satisfied police officers, confident police officers who know that they have taken care of the welfare issues. Small temptations of taking 50 bob and 100 bob will reduce. That's how we'll sort this thing out. The renting a gun and so on will reduce, so that we move forward now to build a stronger society, as it were.
And from Nairobi, we are now crossing over to Murang'a County, and to be specific, at the Kandara Oriene Community Center for Children with Disability, where the Deputy President, Dr. William Ruto, is leading the Kenya Kwanza campaign trail. Let's first of all listen in.
Ndio. Tunaelewana jamani? Mimi vile vile nataka niwashukuru watu wa hapa kwa kunipatia huyu shujaa anaitwa Alice Muthoni Wahome. Huyu mama ni mtu mama wa kujitolea. Tumefanya kazi kubwa na yeye. Sio hapa Kandara, amenileta Kandara mara nyingi. Nimekuja hapa Kandara mambo ya shule. Tumefanya harambee kadhaa ya watoto na masomo ya shule ya Kandara. Nimekuja hapa tukaanza na yeye Technical Training College. Leo tumekamilisha Technical Training College, tumeweka equipment, tumeweka karibu milioni 100 kwa hiyo college, kwa maono yake na mpango yake pamoja na serikali yetu. Tumepanga mambo mengi ya kaunti hii, na ni vizuri sana kujua ya kwamba kuna mama ambaye mbali na ile mipango yote tuko nayo, pia anafikiria watoto wetu ambao wanaishi na ulemavu. That's a very positive thing, and I want to say, Alice Wahome, congratulations for thinking about the physically challenged in our society and even the intellectual part. Watu wa hapa Kandara, nataka niwaambie asante sana pia kwa kuwa marafiki wetu. Tumefanya kazi ya uongozi pamoja na nyinyi. Tulikuja hapa na rais, tukaomba kura zenu, mkatupatia, mkatuombea, na tumefanya kazi ambayo imefanyika katika Kenya. Mambo ya mabarabara, tumejenga karibu kilomita 650 hapa Murang'a. Tumeunganisha stima, imefika saizi 145,000 people. Nimewambia tumejenga college kama hii ya Kandara, tumejenga colleges zingine 6 katika kaunti hii. Mulikuwa tuna college moja, leo tumejenga another 6 ikiwemo ya Kandara. Na hiyo kazi lazima tuendelee nayo. Tunaelewana? Tuhamwe? Hiyo? Tuko pamoja? So mimi nataka niwaambie kwamba tukienda mbele, leo tumefika hapa vile ndugu yangu Kang'ata amesema na Musali amesema, sisi tumeungana, sisi wote ndio tutengeneze serikali ambayo itashughulikia watu wote wa taifa letu la Kenya. Na mimi nataka niwahakikishie ya kwamba hiyo kazi ambayo Rais Uhuru Kenyatta atabakisha akimaliza awamu yake, hiyo kazi sisi tutaipeleka mbele. Tumekubaliana ya kwamba priority yetu number 1 ile ya tukutimiza ambayo ilikuwa ndani ya Big 4, ajira ya hawa vijana hawa, hiyo itakuwa priority yetu number 1. Priority yetu number 2 ni biashara na kilimo ya wananchi wa taifa letu la Kenya. Tuhakikishe ya kwamba mnapata bei ya sawasawa kwa mazao yenu, kama ni kahawa, kama ni chai, kama ni mambo ya maziwa, kama ni avocado. Tuhakikisha kwamba mko na bei ya sawasawa, tuondoe mabroka, tuondoe makatel, ndio kila mtu aweze kupata bei ile halisi. Tusinyang'anywe nafasi hiyo na watu wa hapa middlemen ambao wanatusumbua. Na kazi hiyo nyingine yote, vile tulisema mambo ya universal health coverage, mwaka huu kwa mapenzi ya Mungu, kabla ya Disemba, tunataka kila mmoja wetu awe na bima ya afya ya NHIF. Ndio kila mtu aende hospitalini atibiwe na alipiwe na bima ya afya ya NHIF. Mtu asiuze tena ng'ombe yake ama ploti yake ama mali yake kulipa hospitali. Hospitali ilipwe na bima ya afya yenye inashughulikiwa na kila mtu. Na tumesema hata yule ambaye hana uwezo wa kulipa tutawalipia kama serikali ya Kenya. Ndio kila mtu tumudu mambo vile tunafanya elimu ya watoto wetu, ndio tutafanya mambo ya matibabu ya Wakenya wote. Tunakubaliana watu wa Kandara? Ndio tunawauliza tutembee pamoja safari hiyo. Mtakubali tutembee pamoja? Kwa hamwa. Hiyo. Tutembee pamoja. So, kwa sababu ya tulikuja hapa kwa shughuli ya hawa watoto na pia tuwajulie hali, tunawatakia heri. Tunajua mbali na ile kazi tumefanya, kuna kazi imebaki na ni kazi kubwa, si ndio? Nimepitia hii barabara, tuliaidiana na nyinyi ya kwamba kutoka Kahaine kuja hapa Kaboroge kwenda mpaka Rege, hiyo barabara lazima tujenge na tuweke lami. Na hapo ndio tutaanzia mwezi wa 8, kwa sababu tukimaliza hii mambo ya uchaguzi tutakuja kushughulika na hiyo kazi ambayo imebakia. Tunaelewana jameni? So tunawatakia heri, tunawatakia baraka ya Mungu. Asanteni sana kutukaribisha hapa nyumbani. Tunawapenda sana na tunawapenda. Asanteni sana. Bwana ni amura.
That is Deputy President William Ruto there in Kandara, and to be specific, Oriene Community Center for Children with Disability. First of all, in a nutshell, he has talked about the government track record of electrification, education, and building of roads, saying that given a chance, he hopes to complete all the government projects already initiated by the Jubilee government. And also, he has also pointed out prioritizing health and uplifting farming and value addition in the agriculture-rich county of Murang'a. Of course, we have our reporter there, Nancy Okware, who will give us a more detailed report in our subsequent bulletin. But moving on, traders in Gikomba conducting sewing services at the 5th floor of the newly built market are crying foul of a recent directive to pay an extra 1,000 shillings monthly revenue to certain individuals. The traders claim they are forced out of their working spaces once they fail to pay the stipulated amount. They are now calling on the city county to come to their aid and resolve the money collection hurdle.
The traders, who claim they were affected by the fire before the project started, say the government gave them the spaces to do their businesses.
Nyumba yenyewe kuna mtu anakuja anasema hapa ni kwake na hatuna hakika kama hapa ni kwake kweli. Sasa tumekuwa tukisumbuana na wao, saa zingine tunavurugana vita na tunateswa sana. Sasa tungependa tuombe usaidizi kutoka kwa serikali.
The traders who said they were allocated the spaces by government after the Gikomba fire say the 1,000 shillings they are being asked to pay certain individuals is unfair, saying while they are not opposed to paying taxes, 1,000 shillings would have them making losses.
Tuliingia wote mpaka wote unaona hapa wote ni wa mafundi. Wakapewa hii space, wakaambiwa mpaka siku ile nyumba nyingine itajengwa ndio wataenda. Imefika mahali tu officials wetu, chairman, treasurer, secretary na kamati wake wamefika mahali wanaitisha kila mtu giri moja kwa kila mashini. Na wakati tulikuwa na mkutano kwa DCC, kulisemekana hakuna mtu hata mmoja anafaa kutoa mpaka siku ile nyumba yao itaisha.
They say they have presented their complaints to the market committee but have failed to resolve the issue and are now calling upon the city county to come to their aid.
Tulikuwa tumepewa tufanyie biashara lakini matapeli wameingia. Ile kitu mimi nalilia tu ni uongozi wa hapa ni mbaya.
Jacqueline Masharia for Lunchtime News.
In other news, 4 individuals believed to be involved in the stealing of livestock have been arraigned at the Mavoko Law Courts, where they have pleaded not guilty. Among the 4 is a businessman believed to be running a chain of butcheries in the area. The accused were remanded until April, when the case will be mentioned.
According to the charge sheet, the 4 accused, Peter Mohia Jenga, David Masharia Gashora, David Wambura and Mutende Meibaku, were nabbed by detectives in mid-January 2022 after a spate of livestock theft in Nairobi, Kajiado and Machakos counties.
On the issue of the mobile phones, the issue may be revisited later to find out if they have been obtained from cybercrime.
The court objected their plea to be released on a cash bail, saying that some of the suspects had a similar case in court and have jumped bail after they were released. They were remanded until April, when the case will be mentioned.
And take a date for hearing and an ordinary mention. The matter has a hearing date of 13 April.
To some politics now, where Nairobi County Assembly Majority Leader Abdi Guyo has warned political leaders against propagating divisive politics and instead focus on serving the interest of the electorate. This as leaders allied to the Empowerment Liberation Party challenged Kenyans to vote for leaders based on their track record and not political parties.
Speaking during a meeting with residents in Embakasi Central constituency, Nairobi County Assembly Majority Leader Abdi Guyo warned political leaders against divisive politics. The Matopeni Ward MCA, who is eyeing the Embakasi Central constituency seat, pledged to improve the lives of the residents.
Basari ya university nitatoa kutoka 8,000 nipeleke 20,000. Kwa sababu tunataka watu waso. Ni kweli. Tutahakikisha hizo mashule tuko nao katika Embakasi Central, tumeweka madarasa ya secondary school ndio watoto ambao hawezi enda national provision wasome wapi?
Meanwhile, Waraka constituency MP aspirant Jared Okoth Okode is calling for free and fair nominations by the Orange Democratic Party.
Ile kitu mimi naomba kama watu wa ODM, bora tufanye nomination ile bila ukora yoyote. Na tukifanya nomination bila ukora, mtu akishinda apatiwe kitu yake. Tukifanya hiyo nomination, hatutakuwa na problem yoyote.
Elsewhere, a section of politicians under the Empowerment Liberation Party has challenged the electorate not to vote along party lines, but to elect leaders based on their track record and agenda.
Kwa hivyo tuangalie maendeleo ya mtu binafsi na tuangalie kila kitu na tuangalie chama hata kama ni ndogo, tusiwe tunaangalia chama sana, tuangalie nini? Mwananchi.
Kile tunafanya tunajipanga tuwe chama yetu na nguvu ili tusiwe na brokers. Kama ni wakati wa kwenda kwa serikali tupewe resources yetu tuwe direct.
And Laisami's constituency MP aspirant Elizabeth Pantoren has termed male chauvinism as the biggest hindrance for women participation in politics.
particularly in the Rendile community. They've not been able to give women opportunity to contest. So something new is normally very challenging, extremely challenging. And I haven't seen the challenge yet myself, because I have realized my own clan, the clan that my husband comes from, have endorsed me, despite having 3 contestants, 2 men and 1 woman.
Pantoren, however, remains optimistic that the pastoralist communities are slowly embracing women leadership. For Lunchtime News, I'm Safin Acheng Oma.
And still on politics, let's now cross over to Njue House, right here in the capital, Nairobi, where the DAP Kenya party is currently holding a presser. And as we speak, Defense CS Eugene Wamalwa is currently addressing.
Naibu wa Rais William Ruto akisema eti kuna chama cha kijiji kimeanza huko Western, ati kinaitwa DAP. Sijui kama mlisikia hiyo story. Huo ulikuwa wakati wa kwanza ametutembelea huko Kitale. Juzi Mheshimiwa Ruto amerudi Kitale huko na wenzake wanaitwa Weta na mwingine anaitwa Mudavadi. Sasa wameanza kusema hiki chama cha DAP sio tena that small village party. Wamesema hiki chama kimekuwa kikubwa sana, lazima kiwe a state house sponsored party. Eti ninyi mmekuwa too big for them. Alafu wengine wakasema eti ninyi DAP mmekuwa sa chama cha deep state. Sababu haiwezekani miezi miwili chama kikue vile ninyi mmekuwa. Simujipigie makofi jamani. Na imefika pahala ambapo sasa wanaanza kusema eti chama cha DAP ati sasa kimekuwa kikubwa kama ODM na ni ODMB. You know, ODM is the largest political party in Kenya. Kweli si kweli? So even in 2 months you can be that big. Paka you are compared to ODM. Basi ninyi mmekuwa jamani. It means you are the fastest growing party, and I want to say this to all of you who have joined this party today. Welcome to the fastest growing party north of the Limpopo and south of the Sahara. DAP is the fastest growing party in sub-Saharan Africa today. Kuna mtu alisema lita Raila an enigma wa Kenyan politics, lakini ninyi DAP bana, you have become an enigma in our politics. Ukisikia mitandao yote, ukisikia kwenye runinga, watu wanazungumzia juu ya ninyi watu wa DAP. And in Western today, it is being said that you have become the alternative party to ODM, to ANC, and to Fort Kane. But I want to agree with my friend Buluma, kutoka Nambale. Amesema DAP is not the alternative party. DAP is the party of choice. Na sio tu Western Kenya, is the party of choice in Kenya today. Mkiangalia viongozi ambao wamekuja hapa siku ya leo, na nataka nialike marafiki wangu wawili hapa, ndugu Osman karibu, ndugu Farid karibu. Hawa jamaa hawatoki Western, hawatoki Bungoma, Tindi Mwale, hawatoki Butere, hawatoki kwa Nabulindo, hawatoki Huisero, hawatoki kule Samia. Huyu ndugu wetu ametoka all the way from Tana River na amejiunga nasi siku ya leo. Na amesema yeye sisi tulikuwa tumjui. Sidhani sisi tumemwalika, ametumwa na watu wa Tana River na wanasema wanataka ajiunge na the fastest growing party in the republic ambayo inaitwa DAP. Mmemkaribisha jamani? Hapa tuko na ndugu yetu Osman. Huyo anatoka Wajir County. Na yeye anaenda kuwa mbunge, analeta kiti kutoka Wajir County. Umemkaribisha? Ndugu yetu huyu Farid, huyu jamaa Noah Wekesa namjua sana. Huyu ndiye alikuwa coordinator wa Coast Region yote kwa marehemu wa Wamalwa kijana, the 8th Vice President of Kenya. Huyu Farid mnayemuona huyu. Na kwa kura zilizopita yeye ndiye amekuwa coordinator wa Jubilee entire Coast Region. Mzee Noah Wekesa Farida amekuja hapa siku ya leo na amesema yeye ndio anaenda coordinate the entire coast na amongst our regional coast.
That is Defense CES Eugene Wamalwa there at Njue House there together with party officials of the Democratic Action Party of Kenya, DAP Kenya, holding a presser there. Among others, he's talked about this is not a community party, it's not a state house project, and it is the fastest growing party in the country, growing in leaps and bounds. And on that political note, let's now take our first break, but we still have more news, so don't go away.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Sauti ya Kenya. Juu milimani na hata mabondeni, Radio Taifa inatamba kutamba. Sasa unaweza kupokea matangazo ya Radio Taifa loud and clear popote ulipo Western Kenya.
Radio Taifa usisahau unaweza ukatupata kupitia
ukiwa Busia, Siaya, Vihiga, Mumias, Yala na maeneo yaliyoko karibu. Radio Taifa inapatikana kwenye 104.5 FM, na ukiwa Bungoma, Kakamega, Kiminini, Kipkaren na viunga vyake, pata vipindi na burudani safi kupitia 92.3 FM. Radio Taifa, sauti ya Mkenya.
The government of Kenya adopted universal health coverage UHC as one of the big 4 priority agenda, with an aspiration that by 2022 all citizens will have access to quality healthcare services that they need without getting into financial hardships. Don't suffer in silence. Visit the nearest healthcare facility and access affordable healthcare services that are now offered under the universal health coverage benefit package delivered through NHIF. For those who can afford, please remember to pay the monthly contribution of 500 shillings. The government has put mechanisms for assisting those who cannot afford to pay. Register biometrically at the nearest NHIF office. Your family's health matters to us. NHIF, leave no one behind.
This week on Magical Scenes, we take you to the county of Mombasa.
The people are scared back in the state. They are told it's very hard, but it's not. It's not what we thought.
An outstanding destination.
Mtu akija ni kama amekuja nyumbani kwake.
Thursday, you can do swimming, you can do bird watching. Magical Scenes, only on Channel 1.
Welcome back. We are glad you're still watching. Moving on, the church has been called upon to pray for the nation as it enters into a heated campaigning period. Meru Senator Mithika Linturi says the country needs spiritual intervention to avert chaotic campaigns and election. Elsewhere, the chairman of Devolution and Empowerment Party, Lenny Kivuti, has denied claims that the party was poaching Wiper members.
With just less than 6 months to the August polls, the church has been challenged to pray for the nation to ensure there is peace before and after the elections. Meru Senator Mithika Linturi says the country was currently experiencing heightened political campaigns, which calls for a voice of reason.
Ili mwaka huu tarehe 9 tuweze kufanya kura za amani.
Meanwhile, the Kilifi gubernatorial aspirants have now resolved to work together to popularize the party in the region. They accused area governor Amason Kingi for allegedly trying to destabilize ODM at the coastal region.
Tunatafuta vyeo,
tufanye siasa yetu ya amani. Sisi adui yetu ni mmoja peke yake. Adui yetu ni yule anayempinga Raila Amolo Odinga asiwe rais.
Governor Amazon Jeffa Kingi, yeye ndio adui wa kwanza ndani ya Kilifi County kwa mipangilio ya Azimio.
Ndugu zangu ambao tunaenda kutafuta kiti cha ugavana, tuende tufanye kura ya mchujo ya amani. Ndipo sasa atakayechaguliwa ahakikishe ya kwamba anaendesha tikiti ya ODM, tukaweze kuhakikisha kwamba Kilifi inabaki ODM.
Finally, Coast residents have been urged to elect credible leaders who will ensure locals get handsome returns from their natural resources and cash crops. The leaders argue that locals in Ganze sub-county have been given a raw deal after tons of ballast and stones were excavated and used to build 3 berths at the Lamu port at 40 billion shillings.
Hakuna vile serikali umeangalia vizuri huu mmea wa mnazi, kwa sababu najua pia huo ni mmea mwingine ambao una manufaa mengi sana, lakini hakuna sheria ambao una control, imeachiwa tu kila mtu ajifanyie vile anataka. Ndio maana sasa wapwani hawafaidi huu mmea wa mnazi.
Timothy Kipnoso for Lunchtime News.
Let's now shift focus to education matters, where Nyanza Region Education Director Willie Machocho has warned against delaying payments for contractors in the ongoing CBC Infrastructural Development Program. Speaking during the commissioning of 7 classrooms out of the allocated 42 in Kuria sub-counties, Machocho said that all contractors' payment documents should be processed in time so as to achieve the target of constructing 10,000 classrooms.
A total of 13 CBC classrooms in Kuria East and Kuria West sub-counties in Migori County have been completed so far, with the government aiming to deliver at least 205 new classrooms in the region ahead of the junior secondary school rollout next year. Speaking while commissioning 7 classrooms in Kuria sub-counties, Director of Education Nyanza Region, Mr. William Machocho, applauded the contractors for their work well done, while at the same time warning against delaying payments for the same contractors.
Just report any person who is trying to delay the process, and you can be very sure. Action will be taken. Yes.
Meanwhile, Migori County Director of Education, Mr. Jacob Oyengo, added his voice, saying that it was paramount for the contractors to complete the classrooms by February 20th to ensure they do not interfere with the March national examinations. On average, the Kuria sub-counties have an 86% success rate in the CBC class completion, with majority of the classroom at the roofing stage by yesterday. Brian Mwindi for Lunchtime News.
In other news, security agencies in Mandera County have committed to tighten security in the region through public policing and more security patrols in a bid to curb terrorist attacks. Bura East Deputy County Commissioner Thomas Bett urged residents in the area to cooperate with the government in community policing.
The recent attacks in northern Kenya's Mandera and Wajir counties have prompted the government to heighten security along the country's borders. Bura East Deputy County Commissioner Thomas Bett has urged locals to be cautious and report any suspicious activity to the nearest administration office.
Hivi karibuni tunaenda kufanya mtihani wa darasa la 8 na kidato cha 4. Tumehakikisha kwamba mikakati yote ya usalama imewekwa kuhakikisha kwamba mtihani huo umefanywa katika mazingira yaliyo mzuri na yaliyo salama kwa watoto wetu ili waweze kumaliza vizuri.
Bett says security patrols by police have been increased in the region in efforts to avert further attacks. While at a security meeting with area leaders, Bett vowed to leave nothing to chance in ensuring security is restored. Local elders committed to work with relevant authorities in taming insecurity in the region.
Kuacha kuona hata hatutaki kusikia maneno yao, na tukiwaona tutawapigana hata kama tuko na fimbo.
Irene Mchuma, Udim, The Lunchtime News.
And Kenya's fight against terrorism has received a boost after the UK government handed over essential forensic medical equipment worth 4.5 million Kenya shillings to the Ministry of Health. The equipment, including a portable mortuary fridge, as well as evidence bags, will improve disaster response as well as help in supporting forensic investigations. Purity himself with the details.
The UK stands with Kenya in this fight against terrorism, and I honour the women and men of the Kenya security forces who have given their lives to protect their fellow citizens. We are deeply committed to the security partnership with Kenya, our closest counter-terrorism partner here in East Africa, and we invest approximately 1 billion shillings a year in counter-terrorism efforts in partnership with the government of Kenya.
I take special recognition of the support provided by the British High Commission in Forensic Medical Services and Counter-Terrorism. The equipment donated, in addition to other support provided, will go a long way in supporting forensic investigations in instances of mass casualties, including those due to terror-related activities and disasters.
Moving on, the government, through the Border Management Secretariat, BMS, has embarked on a mission to fix existing gaps that have led to increased cases of illegal immigrants and hard drugs like bhang in the country from the neighboring nations of Ethiopia and Somalia. Border Management Secretariat Director Kennedy Njue said illegal immigrants and drug traffickers have been using existing loopholes at the border points, which he said the government will address.
Speaking during a 3-day meeting in Isiolo that brought together the county security teams from the border counties of Mandera, Garissa, Wajir, Marsabit and Isiolo, which acts as a transit point to the rest of Kenya, the Director, Border Management Secretariat Kennedy Njue, said that the various stakeholders are committed to come up with a lasting solution to insecurity at the porous border.
Na swala moja ambalo tunaendelea kuzungumza tukiwa kwa pamoja ni vipi wanapita mipakani, hata tunawapata coast sehemu za Shimoni na sehemu zingine. Na nafikiri baada ya mazungumzo ambayo tunayo na recommendations ambazo tunafanya, tutakuwa ni mikakati mahususi ya kuzuia kabisa pasiwe na mianya kama hiyo.
He noted that it was saddening that from time to time illegal immigrants and drugs are impounded, having passed through several counties, indicative of weaknesses being exploited. He said the government will employ a multifaceted approach that will ensure a close working relationship between the various government agencies to ensure better monitoring along the porous borders.
Watu ambao hawapitii sehemu ambazo zimekubalika, Moyale one-stop border post, ieleweke kwamba between Kenya and Ethiopia tuna Moyale one-stop border post. Kwa hiyo wengine wote wanaopita si ajabu wanapitia katika hizo tunazoita cut lines, the porous nature of our borders. But nadhani kwa mkutano ambao tunayo na tumeyazungumzia mambo, patakuwa na mikakati mahususi ya kuhakikisha kwamba tumewazuia kabisa.
Njue also called on Kenyans to volunteer information to authorities for action in order to curb chances of illegal entry into the country for their own safety.
Ya jamii waelewe matatizo ya kukubali na kuruhusu mambo ambayo hayastahili kuja Kenya. Maana mwishowe inakuwa na ripple effect ambayo sio mzuri kwa uchumi hata kwa usalama wetu.
Isiolo County Commissioner Geoffrey Omondi said that Isiolo town had become a major operation point for illegal immigrants and drug traffickers as the gateway to the other parts of the country, but lauded efforts being put in by security officers who have nabbed thousands of kilograms of bhang from Ethiopia in the last few years.
Tumekuwa na resolutions way forward vile tunashikamana pamoja kama stakeholders wote ili tulinde usalama ya nchi yetu, vile vile tuweke mikakati ya ku raise revenue kuliko bidhaa gushi ambayo inapitia hapa kwetu. Tumezuia kutoka source huko juu ndio isifike hapa.
The Mandera, Marsabit, Wajir, Garissa and Isiolo county security teams were led by their respective county commissioners, with representative from Kenya Revenue Authority and the Department of Immigration also in attendance. Beatrice Gatonyangetich, Lunchtime News.
And 13,000 households affected by drought in West Pokot County are set to benefit from relief donation from the Kenya Red Cross in conjunction with the Italian agency Corporation. Those to benefit are families living along the volatile borders of West Pokot and Turkana counties battling drought and insecurity.
During the flagging off of the donations, West Pokot Governor Professor John Lonyangapuo said the county has experienced total crop failure due to the ongoing drought.
As you know, we have been hard hit by this drought that has visited northern part of Kenya. West Pokot is not exceptional. We had crop failure last year, towards the end of last year, so we have very little food in our stores, and our people are in dire need of food.
The governor is now appealing to the national government to supply more food, adding that 70 to 80% of families have been greatly affected by the drought. According to Kenya Red Cross North Rift Region Head of Disaster Management, Michael Ayabe, their main focus is on hard-hit areas and places where people have been displaced by insecurity.
I said the areas that we are focusing on are, that belt where the conflict has been, Masol, for example, and Sarmaj. These are the areas where, that border point that we are focusing in this particular response.
Ayabe said the drought has created instability in the area, with communities now resorting to raids. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I'm Amboi Otiende.
In business, Tanzania has maintained its stance, declining to ratify the Economic Partnership Agreement fronted by the East African Community with the European Union. Tanzania, in a statement, says it will engage the European Union in technical consultations to ensure that the proposed agreement addresses interests that will benefit Tanzania and the East Africa community at large.
The European Union finalized negotiations on the Economic Partnership Agreement with the East African Community in October 2014. However, only Kenya and Rwanda signed and subsequently ratified the EPA in September 2016, allowing goods to access the expansive market on a duty-free basis. This was after Tanzania, Uganda and Burundi refused to endorse the deal, and time was running out for Kenya, whose goods would have been subjected to higher tariffs, unlike the other EAC member states, which are classified as poor countries. And now, Tanzania maintains that it is yet to sign and ratify the deal. A statement from Tanzania's Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry says Tanzania is working on outstanding attributes that led to the decision to decline ratification of the EPA. The government wishes to advise Tanzanians and the international community at large that Tanzania has not yet ratified the EPA and will issue an official statement on the status of the EPA when the technical conclusions are concluded. Implementation of the Regional Economic Partnership Agreement with the EAC is pending because it has not been signed and ratified by all EAC member states. The pronouncement by Tanzania comes a week after Tanzanian officials were quoted hinting at signing and ratifying the Economic Partnership Agreement. Betty Kiptum, Lunchtime News.
Elsewhere, dairy and coffee farmers are said to benefit from a 2.3 billion shillings funding from Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency. The funds, which will be disbursed in form of loans, will see farmers access credit to invest in the value chains to boost earnings.
Agriculture lending constitutes only 4% of the country's total loan book due to what financiers term as high risks involved in the sector. This has seen smallholder farmers grapple with limited financing. Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency has joined organizations extending credit facility to farmers with a 2.3 billion loan facility targeting the dairy and coffee value chains.
Such a process of identifying the right organizations, do capacity building for them to be able to be ready to access the credit.
In the 5-year program, SIDA plans to offer guarantee facility for farmers accessing loans from a select financial institutions.
Will support access to finance to farmer-based organization through commercialized loans, where SIDA is able to provide a credit guarantee.
The credit facility will target smallholder farmers, especially women who form a majority of agriculture labor force but lack collateral to access financing to invest in their farming ventures.
It will not lend directly to women farmers or to youth. We will lend to the farmer-based organizations and the cooperatives, and they will then lend to their own members.
Already, 30 farmers' organizations have been approved to access the credit, ranging between 3 million shillings and 50 million shillings.
Beneficiaries currently have already been identified. They applied, and we have done assessments to identify the right ones which are ready for receipt.
Benson Rioba reporting for Lunchtime News.
Across borders, Nigeria's annual inflation slowed by 3 basis points to 15.60% in January, ahead of the release of the growth data next week. Inflation in Nigeria has been in double digits since the year 2016, was particularly high in December due to a surge in demand during the Christmas season. Here are the details of this and other stories making headlines across Africa.
Nigeria imports key goods and services. A dollar shortage has prompted the government to put restrictions on foreign exchange supplies of certain items, cutting supplies of goods and exerting pressure on prices. Nigeria faces a fuel shortage that could stoke inflation as logistics and transport costs rise. Nigeria depends almost entirely on imports to meet its domestic fuel needs because it lacks refining capacity. Nigerian authorities have said persistent inflationary pressures are structural, linked to deficits and not solely to the money supply and largely imported. Food price inflation, the major headline component, decreased by 24 basis points in January to 17.13%. Meanwhile, Egypt's central bank governor has said new rules require importers to use letters of credit will be implemented from next month, despite complaints from businesses groups and traders that the measure could inflate their costs. The governor urged businessmen to reconcile their situations and not waste time in controversies that have no relation to the stability of Egypt's foreign trade, its sound performance. Egypt has struggled to contain a rising import bill and a current account deficit that widened to $18.4 billion in the 2020-21 financial year from $11.4 billion the previous year. Finally, the South African rand has weakened, giving up gains made earlier in the session as a fall in commodity prices weighed. A rise in commodity prices, especially for precious metals, which benefit resource-rich South Africa, had supported the rand early in the session to break below the 15.00 a dollar mark. But later, gold, a key South African export, retreated from a multi-month peak as news about some Russian troops near Ukraine returning to their bases drove a rebound in riskier assets. Platinum also dipped.
The UK car industry has called for a watchdog to oversee electric car charging prices and the availability of charging points. The growth in electric vehicle sales is outstripping the rollout of charging points, hence a call from the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders to monitor the market. Here are the details of this and other stories making headlines from across the world.
The UK government is providing £1.3 billion to expand the charging network. Over the decade between 2011 and 2021, the number of charge points in the UK jumped from about 1,500 to more than 48,000 according to the industry figures. But between 2019 and 2021, the number of electric cars on the road increased much faster. Moreover, the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders says the charge point rollout was uneven, going faster in the south of England than in the north. The society is calling on the government to set up the new regulator called Ofcharge to monitor the market. Meanwhile, natural gas prices on the European futures market have continued to fluctuate due to the gloomy shadow of Nord Stream 2 pipeline project grounding on the escalating tension between Russia and Ukraine. The price on the European futures market divided by more than 15% to below $800 per 1,000 cubic meters for the first time in 2022. As the situation on the Russia-Ukraine border eased with Russia pulling back some of its troops from Ukraine's eastern border. However, the short-term price decline still cannot solve the current energy crunch in the European. The US government is negotiating to deliver more liquefied natural gas to Europe in order to plug the gap in Europe once the situation in Ukraine deteriorates. Finally, Vietnam's apparel exports are expected to jump 7.4% this year to $43.5 billion as factories keep up production despite surging COVID-19 infections, as the country's textile and garment industry is seen to contribute most. This has come after the government lifted some of the measures to all boost the production sector. In December last year, shutdowns had affected up to 1.2 million garment workers last year, which is 65% of the industry workforce.
And back home, insurance claim payouts declined the fourth quarter of 2021 as underwriters moved to seal fraud and fake claim loopholes in the industry. Data from the Insurance Regulatory Authority shows a total 180 million shillings was paid by insurers between October and December of 2021. IRA says 4,000 claims were settled in the fourth quarter compared to the 15,000 claims that were lodged in the third quarter of 2021.
Fraudulent claims have been an Achilles heel in the underwriting business in the country. That involves a complicated racket of rogue traffic police officers, claimants, doctors, among other specialists. According to the Insurance Regulatory Authority, approximately 40% of all insurance claims are fraudulent. Rural Private Hospitals Association of Kenya reports that Kenya loses up to 33 billion shillings to insurance fraud in the medical segment alone due to weak systems and collusion. Fraud has led to a spike in the cost of insurance premiums, leading to a stagnation in the percentage of premiums to the GDP. However, IRA, together with the Association of Kenya Insurance, has been mobilizing players to adopt e-claim processes to minimize fraudulent claims. This has seen underwriters embark on aggressive use of biometrics registration and increased surveillance processes to stem fraud. Latest data from the industry regulator shows that the number of claims lodged dropped to an all-time low in the fourth quarter of 2021. IRA says the proportion of declined general non-liability claims decreased to 0.14% in quarter 4 of 2021 from 0.52% reported in quarter 3 of 2021.
And in sports, National Rugby 15-a-side team Simba is set to commence training tomorrow at the RFUA grounds in preparations for the 2023 Rugby World Cup qualifiers. The team is scheduled to play Uganda Cranes in the quarter-final match of the qualifiers in July this year.
Head coach Paul Odera says players from the 2021 team who have lost form have been excluded from the team that consists of 81 players, including 15 foreign-based players. Notable players in the provisional team include Willie Mbaka, Colin Sinjera, Oscar Ouma and Billy Odhiambo. Geoffrey Okwach and Davis Chenge are also back in the squad after shaking off foot injury and a concussion respectively. The team is scheduled to meet rivals Uganda Cranes in the quarterfinals of the qualifiers on the 1st of July this year. Should they secure a victory in this match, they will proceed to face either Senegal or Algeria in the semi-final on the 6th of July. The final of the qualifiers will take place on the 10th of July.
To Need for Speed now, where multiple Kenya National Rally Championship winner Baldev Chaga's supremacy in the 10th edition of the East African Safari Classic Rally continued on day 6 as he returned to the top of the chart. The day started off at Meshanani Gate and finished at Amboseli Park in Kajiado County, covering a distance of 213.4 kilometers.
Baldev Chaga has gained a huge time difference of 7 minutes 21.8 seconds in his Porsche 911 enduring the tough and rough terrain of Amboseli in a battle that has seen the Porsches under threat from fellow Kenyans. Chaga paid glowing tributes to his team for an amazing job which has managed to keep his car together, giving more confidence as the rally enters the definitive stages.
I missed 2 days of rallying up in Laikipia, which I would have loved to do, but so far it's been really enjoyable and the transport sections have been really short, so it's been a nice sort of compact, like a normal, a day rally.
It's tricky in places, a little bit fast and straight. Some was really nice, some was a bit too fast and straight.
Kenyan legend Ian Duncan in his Rover Vitesse has moved into second after Swede Patrick Sandel's problems. Kenyan Pius Daikin is in third position in his Datsun 240Z. Day 6 of the rally saw the drivers traverse Amboseli area of Meshanani Gate, Emokutan and Esineti Amboseli Park. The rally now heads to Taita Hills. Frederick Muki for Channel 1 Sports.
Further afield now, the UEFA Champions League knockout stages continues tonight as Liverpool travel to Inter Milan while Bayern Munich take on Red Bull